The Urbanist is brought to you in association with the Department of Culture and Tourism, Abu Dhabi. Saadiyat Cultural District Abu Dhabi is a beacon of hope and inspiration. A catalyst to spark growth and collaboration with museums and experiences, where art and science and nature and technology coexist.
The belief of Abu Dhabi that culture is the backbone of our society.
Stay tuned for a special episode of the show, in which you can hear His Excellency Mohammed Khalifa Al Mubarak explain exactly why and how Saadiyat Cultural District Abu Dhabi is the perfect place to collaborate, create and innovate. Saadiyat Cultural District Abu Dhabi, proud partner of The Urbanist on Monocle Radio.
The drama and intrigue of what goes on under the circus big top is a feeling instilled in many as a child. In Berlin, what lies beneath one more permanent tent-like roof is a unique event space that has been entertaining locals of all ages for decades. You're listening to Tall Stories, a Monocle production brought to you by the team behind The Urbanist. I'm Andrew Tuck. In this episode, George Ruskin takes us to the Tempodrom to see what wonders its postmodern peaks are hiding below.
There is a circus in Kreuzberg that never leaves town. Rather than a tent, this circus is housed in a feat of postmodernism, complete with a spa. Its name is Tempodrom, and the story of this building is one that could only ever be set in Berlin. Over the past 4 decades, its evolution has mirrored the city like a camera obscura. It's a story of transformation and adaptation as world events play out on the doorstep. Today, Tempodrom is a state-of-the-art music venue upstairs and a spa called Liquidrom downstairs. The so-called large arena is at the centre of this circus's big top, constructed in concrete and glass. 12 37-metre spikes, each reminiscent of a mammoth tusk, are the tent poles, with light oak cladding as the tarpaulin. Whilst the building from the outside is unmistakably circusy, from within the large arena is more ecclesiastical, reminiscent of Frederick Gibbard's Wigwam Cathedral in Liverpool. Concentrated bursts of glass stream in through wrap-around triangular windows and through the skylight above the theatre in the round. Tempodrom is a place of musical worship. Pilgrims of all musical denominations come here to see their beloved acts perform in this unique space. Björk, Einstürzende Neubauten and Massive Attack are some of the acts who have played Tempodrom in its current iteration. Liquidrom, the spa, welcomes weary, overpartied souls to immerse themselves in its saltwater pool, known as Tempodrom's secondary event hall. Beneath a sweeping concrete dome, music plays through 4 colossal sound columns and a network of underwater speakers, which, alongside curated light installations, allow for total immersion. Restorative music therapy. Natural materials dominate Liquidrom's design. Floors and ceilings are clad in natural green-grey rock. Changing rooms and corridors are adorned with fair-faced concrete. The walls of its outdoor wellness area are clad in the untreated timber of the red cedar tree, prevalent in the forests of nearby Brandenburg. So timeless are these materials that it is hard to imagine a time when Tempodrom was constructed by tarpaulin, flapping in the winds of change. Tempodrom opened in 1980 as a second-hand circus. It came about when a woman called Irina Musinger poured an unexpected inheritance into realizing the dream of a lifetime. An underground venue, a gathering place for freedom and creativity. She erected her tent right beside the Berlin Wall on Potsdamer Platz, which was then a frontier between 2 worlds. Despite achieving cult status almost instantaneously, world events meant Tempodrom had to relocate to the Tiergarten Park after the Berlin Wall fell in 1989. More years passed and the reconstruction of Germany's parliament, the Bundestag, began. Once again, Tempodrom had to make way for the progress of history. Irene recognised that reunified Berlin was a different city. Tempodrom needed foundations to find its place in the new order. Anhalter Bahnhof was the area she chose, the site of a former mainline train station that had been left untouched since being bombed out in 1945. To this day, it retains the desolate atmosphere that Potsdamer Platz had in the 1980s, the original juxtaposition of Tempodrom. The location was perfect, but then came the challenge of translating, through architecture, the spirit of a tattered old circus tent into the luxury entertainment and spa development that Irena's investors were demanding. Gerkan Marg & Partners were the only architectural practice whose contribution to Berlin can rival Tempodrom's. Way back in the 1970s, they designed Tegel Airport, and later created the staggeringly complex Central Station in Berlin that unified two countries' antithetical public transportation systems under one roof. On this project, they let their playful side lead them to the circus of concrete and glass. Just when Irena's plans seemed close to bearing fruit, the construction of the new Neues Tempodrom proved a step too far. Facing doubling costs, the resignation of a state senator, bankruptcy and prosecution for embezzlement, Irena was forced to step away from her dream to allow it to come true. If not for her, then for Berlin. This is perhaps unsurprising when a project with such fiercely countercultural spirit crashed up against the exactitudes of German bureaucracy. This was national reunification in microcosm. Tempodrom finally opened in 2001 for the presentation of the European Film Awards, filled to capacity with a crowd of nearly 4,000 people. The circus was back in town.
Tall Stories is a Monocle production from the team behind The Urbanist. This episode was written by George Ruskin and produced and edited by David Stevens. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast to receive new episodes every week. I'm Andrew Tuck. Goodbye, and thank you for listening, City Lovers.